Welcome to Zero to Start, a podcast about immersive development that brings you inspiring conversations with immersive creators, developers, and industry leaders. I'm your host, Siciliana Trevino. Subscribe to Zero to Start on your favorite podcast platform and follow our new podcast page on LinkedIn. We have another spooktacular show for you featuring special guest Robin Moulder, who's building the next generation of spatial computing as the founder and CEO of 3 Pound Games and 3 Pound XR. She's got the details about their latest release, GroKit, a hand-tracking multiplayer mixed reality game aimed at rapid-fire interactions that's available now on App Lab. Be sure to check the show notes for bone-chilling links to 3 Pound XR's variety of VR and mixed reality experiences, plus our top recommendations for VR games that are sure to trick and treat you. Let's get started. Welcome, Robin. It's great to have you on the podcast today.
Hello, and thank you for having me.
You have literally just gotten back from Europe, which I can't wait to catch up with you on that. But before we do that, tell us about yourself and your first aha moment with VR.
I have a long history in engineering, and my early career days out of college was with Motorola. And this was my dream job. This was microcontroller development. So Motorola was actually known to be a leader in the field for devices like this, for chipsets and microcontrollers. And back in this day, this was the most awesome thing ever. The fact that you could write code instruction sets for microcontrollers. I had a desk drawer and you'd program the EEPROMs. So you like a little light there and you could like stick stuff under there, it would erase them. It was super, super cool to be involved in this. And what I worked on was what are called STX radios. That's what the police officers use, and it's trunking. And so that's one-way communication. So a police officer gets to like, hello, and they go one-way communication. So you could see why Motorola pivoted hard into communications with cell phone not very long after I started working there. I was in Plantation, Florida, Motorola, and ironically, that's where Magic Leap is now, the same building that I used to work at, Motorola, back at my first job.
Wow. So it's full
Full
circle.
circle, yeah. So from there, I went on to work on other microcontroller type devices like life-saving medical devices, recanalization system that was really cool with dual microcontrollers and trying to make sure that you put enough fluid down this tube to ensure that a blade moving, I think it was about 3,600 RPM, could clear a blood clot while not burning up a person's leg. It was These were like really fun, challenging projects, especially for someone that's pretty fresh out of college. I also had this great opportunity to work in laser tomography and back projection convolutions, like that sort of thing, where you were doing a lot of mathematical calculations to figure out when you take a laser and you move it around in a certain number of degrees, how to take that data and turn it into an image. And you could see how I can go from this type of engineering and then move slowly into these other phases of moving up a layer in the stack of development from down deep at the chipset level to, okay, now we're doing C and Pascal. And yes, I actually did Pascal in real life. I was always told we'd never use Pascal in industry, and it was a lie. I did. While I was doing all this, I also was playing in a band in South Florida. I got a record deal. I'm one of the female goth rockers of South Florida. We played all over the place. I mean, we've done full tours. I have multiple albums out. It was really a crazy time to be working in engineering during the day and then rocking out at night and making metal and doing hair tosses and throwing glitter in the crowds. This is sort of the duality that I've always had in me, is the music side, performer side, and then the heads down engineering side, which is how I got around to the 3 Pound Games, because I always wanted to marry these 2 sides of me together. And, for VR, I've always been hooked on, like, skit stereoscopic devices, 3D glasses, magic eyes, you name it. And you could see back then, even with the ViewMaster reel, entertainment, architecture, education, there were reels for all of these things. There's even an atlas of the human anatomy in ViewMaster reels. It was 1955. How cool is that?
It all goes back to just this land of imagination where you feel like with a very simple design with the Viewmaster, right? Where you're peering into the darkness and then the light comes through and you're in a new world.
Yeah. Also, it did really tap into your imagination too. Like it gave you that 3D effect and it gave you that next layer and also opened up your brain to the fact that wow, there could be more here. This could be animated. This could be the entire movie. This could be hooked up to a computer. You could see the entire path that the future is about to take just by looking at these Viewmaster reels and where we're going with spatial computing. And it was just a matter of time. Think about the stereo viewer, the original.
The stereograph.
Yeah, this, I think it was 1850, something like that. And to think about how long ago that was that people wanted to do 3D 3D imagery to capture reality a little more accurately than the 2D plane. Like, this has been a long time coming. So when you fast forward to, say, 2016, when Chris, our technical director, comes over with an HTC Vive, and there were 11 boxes to open, there were sensors to install on the walls, there were cables everywhere, not particularly commercially viable. But still, I was blown away. This was the future of spatial computing. So we started developing a movement system, and soon after, Space Dragon for the Rift and the Vive, basically born in that year. That's really the evolution of, when did I first really get hooked on virtual reality as being a medium that I thought, we're almost there, guys. We're so close to this thing, was 2016. So it's still a little bit early on that. Mostly just problematic with getting rid of all the wires, making it more lightweight, just trying to make it so that people could have this to be more commercially viable and acceptable to be able to wear it. And we're all still dealing with a lot of challenges around adoption right now.
Okay, with the adoption part, it's onboarding.
Yeah, onboarding is definitely one of the biggest issues. And we worked on a project a long time ago in an attempt to solve this because we built a movement system, and that movement system had all kinds of movements, many types like flight, hand guided, like grounded. And we thought this would be so cool if we could just teach people how to use all these different types of movement systems. Then they would know what to do. And if they knew what to do, they would be less afraid of the technology, and also they would start to get more used to the technology. Like habituating the user into this technology means they would become less motion sick, they would find it more natural. All of these things are true, and this was a great idea at the time. It was also going to be a very expensive project for us to develop, so we did put some start on that. We called it VRC legs. We put it on the shelf for a while, but now that's what GroKit is doing. Grok is a term that was an invention of the science fiction writer Robert Heinlein, Stranger in a Strange Land. And grokking was to emphasize so deeply with others that you merge or blend with them. So it was like the kind of the deep, tight definition. And nerds have taken this over, and we say it all the time. Like instead of, oh yeah, I just picked that up quickly, you say I grokked it.
A little bit like the Matrix when he says, I know Kung Fu, he grokked it.
Right, he grokked it. Exactly, exactly. He just picked that up so quickly. And even better if it's something that it's so intuitive to you. And that's why we named the game Grokit, because we wanted to have a game that was so intuitive that people could just figure it out. They didn't have to have a bunch of onboarding and complex instructions. Our opportunity came up with mixed reality to kind of reinvent this concept again, but for hand tracking, for mixed reality, and get them just used to doing something and being successful in this medium. So GroKit's a quick mini game, micro game even. Just do something fast. Card comes down, chomp, go chomp. You got sharks on your arms. Just go chomp the fish. That's all you have to do. And it sounds ridiculous, and it absolutely is ridiculous. And that's the best part about it is we're just having fun with this medium and taking advantage of mixed reality, including pass through, including spatial anchors, your desk, items that you pick in your room, your walls, your desk, like they're included in mixed reality. When you play our games in Grokit, some of the games leverage things like putting a portal on the wall or having a fire imp that you shot with an icicle coming out of your hand, and that drops down and it hits your desk and it shatters. And everybody in the game sees that result of the same item across the board because we made this multiplayer and we made it with deterministic physics. So we're leveraging all of the hot new technologies that we can, but building the simplest game you could possibly play to get people to have a lot of fun and stop thinking about the tech, because you shouldn't have to think about the tech. If you can just use your hands, if you can just do a simple gesture, now you're not thinking about the fact that there's something on your face. And the fact that you can see out into the room means you're also not thinking about it so much. You're not having the, oh, my face is covered thing because I can see what's going on.
You don't feel as isolated.
Yeah, and it's really a beautiful thing. It's very freeing and it's super fun. And if you're laughing and having a good time with your friends in a headset, we're winning, and you're gonna play more and you're gonna try more things out, and then maybe you'll try something a little deeper out. Maybe you'll try some virtual reality games that are a little more complicated, but let's get you, like, just having some fun first, and Grokit's been our solution to how we can experiment with new technologies. We're always on the cutting edge, so this is great opportunity for us as well to just like, "Oh, I wanna try out this new thing. Yeah, let's stick it in Grokit and see if it's fun." It's just easy. It's the simplicity of something so complex makes it just kinda magical, really. Like, you can't even comprehend how it's doing the things that it's doing, but you don't need to, because you don't need to care about it. You could just play. And when you go and you show this game to people at Thanksgiving or your family gathering, and you're like, "Here you go, play this game," everyone should just be able to play it without you standing around going, "Oh, okay, no, no, press the A button, no, back, wait, wait, wait." We've all been there.
Right. And so you have a Halloween version?
Yeah, we did a Halloween treatment. We took 2 of the mini games and, gave them a little bit of a Halloween facelift. So in Claws Out, your hands are cat paws, and, when you open up your hands, your claws come out, it's like just very satisfying. And then you're popping balloons with your cat paws, right? In the Halloween version, you're chasing down ghosts and werewolves, which is fun. And there's a virtual reality background. So primarily, we play the game in pass through and in mixed reality. But also, if you want to, if you don't, maybe your room's dirty and you don't wanna see it anymore, you can throw a virtual reality environment on as well, and you're still in mixed reality because we use the spatial anchors in the walls, but you're using virtual reality to, see, the graveyard treatment, like a nice, cool, spooky treatment. And on the Force, we also did an update on that. So that's a base capture game. When you're taking your ball, it's an energy ball, and you're trying to capture the bases which are floating up in the sky, right? When it's the Halloween treatment, there's actually skeletons on the ground, and the bases are in the skeletons. So you have to get down there and get the skeleton. As soon as you've energized that base, now the skeleton gets up and starts walking away.
That sounds fun. Oh, I can't wait to play.
Yeah, it's really cool. So Grokit's on App Lab currently, so you can download that. We can put a link up.
We'll have links to Grokit in the show notes.
Awesome, awesome.
Interesting to finally be here, looking back from 2016.
Yeah, and we had early on the Leap motion, which is now called the Ultra Leap. And I don't know if you also were part of the crowd that, had those and you stuck them on your headset so that we could do hand tracking back in the day. and it was so great, and we're like, "Oh, this is the future, hand tracking's the future," but who's gonna learn how to download this thing and install this extra device and glue it onto their headset? It was all too much. It needed to be integrated, it needed to be simple, and we also just really needed the cameras on the headsets to be much better, just improvements overall. Just the fact that it's now a mobile device since the Quest 1, of course, but the Quest 1 was quite heavy, and now that we fast forward to the Quest 3, now we have pancake lenses, so it's much more lightweight. The fact that the cameras are right where your eyeballs are. Now you've got depth sensors. Now you've got full color cameras.
Qualcomm's chipsets, the new chipsets, yeah.
Yeah, right, right.
You were at Connect for the announcement of the Quest 3.
It was really cool. It was really magical to hear all the new announcements to be displayed to the world because as a developer, of course, we know about a lot of these things before they happen, but it's all bottled up for us. And we're like, finally, the world knows about everything, all of the cool advancements. And they're just dropping one more announcement after another announcement. And then there were things that we didn't know about. So you get on the other side of the world, you start talking about the Ray-Ban glasses. So for us, we're not in the know on those technologies. And I'm like, "Ooh, these are really nice." I'm trying these out, and I'm actually getting to talk to the engineers there about, where all the cameras are on these and how much they've leaned into spatial audio for this with recording spatial audio. Really fantastic, and how much Facebook is really putting into large language models and AI. This is going to help all of us out a lot when it comes to developing more applications. We could do this now. Yeah, we can roll our own AI characters and build a large language model. Of course, when it's all integrated, it's all going to be much easier for us when it's more commonplace for us to be able to grab character sets because there's a bunch of known data sources available for us. That's going to make the lift easier for us. And these are all great ways to help us build more apps faster.
It feels like, for someone who's just getting started or who's curious, it's a really good time to get in because the tools have never been better in a lot of ways.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. And the technology is still moving at a pretty fast clip, which is really one of the big reasons why we created 3 Pound XR, because with the game company, we've been building lots of games, and it's kind of our test bed for fun stuff we want to do. And we were also building games for other people, or maybe accelerating their development, or working on medical devices or hospitality projects, many, many types of different industry. And through all of these different work streams, realized that there's a bigger problem out there. In 2007, Apple released that iPhone, and by 2010, everybody wanted an app. And now you can see this now that this is starting to happen, that this is happening in industry, and everybody is going to want to hire a spatial computing expert. Where are they going to find these people? So what we've done with 3 Pound XR is we're pulling together all of our core systems and libraries, and we're calling it our GroKit Core. This is going to be something that's going to be made available to other companies to allow them to build the cool stuff we build while we stay on that cutting edge, and we're kind of validating this SDK and that library over there. That's ready for prime time. Cool, let's put it in the kit, and that's available now to all of our clients. Or we might be advising them, hey, you know what, you should just wait a little bit on this one. This needs a little more time to cook. For like a new company that might want to get into spatial computing, they could get straight into implementation and skip over all of this hard work that we're already doing.
Because there are a lot of gaps in the road still, but it's definitely those pieces are there and you're there to bridge those gaps.
Right, exactly, exactly. And we try it out and we provide feedback to the headset manufacturers and anybody who puts a library out there. We work very deeply in the community with other developers and just try to figure out the best way to make sure that everybody's successful in the industry. Because without that critical feedback and without this layer of innovation, none of this is going to ever work, and we all have to work together to pull it all together and make it accessible for other people.
And there is a large benefit across different verticals. Exercise is one I know that you've been following as well.
Absolutely. And we've also partnered with VR Workout. That's one of the companies that we've accelerated. They had a product they had originally built in Godot, and that wasn't really going to scale appropriately. It was just at the time, it definitely wasn't quite ready for full scale launch in the front of the Meta store. And so we rebuilt the application with the CTO, Michael Schmotner, and it's on the front of the store now. So we've launched with the Quest 3, doing really, really well. It's free forever. It's do 8 minutes a day, I think it is. So you can get your exercise in, full body workout.
That's really exciting. Congratulations. We'll be sure to have a link to VR Workout in the show notes. You just got back from Europe. Tell us your impressions of what folks were excited about.
So I went to several conferences over in Europe. I started the trip in Brussels for Stereopsia. I had a special invitation from our partners over at Arrival Space. I had no idea what I was getting into. Another cool immersive technology conference. You can't go wrong with this. In addition to the usual tech and industry entertainment, there was also tracks that were more specifically on science and European matters. That was pretty cool. It was nice that they sliced into other areas of interest. Then I headed to Vienna and I joined IEEE for the Metaverse Roundtable event. I went to a special off-site event with Meta that also tapped into European matters. And then it was off to AWE. The thread that I saw across all of this was that Europe values immersive tech. They understand how important this is for growth, and they were all pushing synergies to boost the XR sector. Like, this is such an important growth sector, and many European, like, government officials and people that are related to the government, and just so cool to see everybody coming together and being actively involved in this space. And I haven't really seen that in America, and maybe I'm just not in those circles,
Which I doubt.
but
No, but in terms of the broad support from government agencies to enterprise to cultural institutions.
yeah, yeah. Like everybody's really coming together over there and saying this matters. How can we do something more? How can we build growth? How can we create more synergy? Let's work together to make sure that this works because immersive technology cuts across everything. And as soon as we all get to this point of just like mobile and we hit that moment of inflection in the technology adoption curve, at some point everybody's going to want a spatial computing app. Everyone's going to need one. I can get all my information right there in the app. I can learn all about the procedure that's about to happen to me. And so many little onboarding things right there alone will change every industry before you even get to gaming or actual medical devices themselves, or you deep into the layer of when nurses and doctors are training in there, which of course they are now as well. It's all evolving, and it's really going to be just a matter of time before you start a job and they say, hey, go download these 10 apps because you have to go train on these before you come into work.
What do you see as the key technical skills that beginner developers should focus on? And where do you see the most need for technical expertise in working with your clients?
Pulling it all together, understanding the components of what it takes, and then taking a little time to go and try it out. It's a lot like when a doctor comes out of college. They don't let them just go pick a field and, like, oh, I want to be a podiatrist. They say, no, go try out a little bit of everything because you don't really know what you're going to love until you've done a little bit of it, and you'd be surprised about what you actually like. So you might think, oh, I want to be a developer. And then when you actually start developing, you realize you don't like to do that at all. Or you might find that when you start to implement code, like being an implementer is kind of when I'm going to set the scene up and I'm going to figure out, like, hey, this object is a grab object. So I'm going to set that up so that it can be grabbed and it can be placed over there. And I could interact with it and put some events on it. And that might be the space that you love, or you might find that you're leaning more art side. So just because you wouldn't call yourself an artist, don't limit yourself to trying, not trying out the art side, because there's many, many layers from 3D art, building objects, to 2D art. We need everything. 2D art's in the app as well. There's 2D screens, there's usability, there's UI, UX, there's technical art, which is when you put visual effects on things, and optimization, very complex topic there. There's so many different threads to pull from. Don't limit yourself to one area just because you think that's what you wanna do. Go try it out. Go try out the next thing. Just go and work in as many things as you possibly can, because eventually you're gonna go, "Oh, this is what I wanna be. This is what I wanna do." It's very helpful for you to know all the other pieces that are going on so that you can do a better job of providing your part of it. So it's no matter what, it's always helpful to learn more about the entire industry and about how all the puzzle pieces fit together. There's layers to each one of these components. So the more you know about immersive tech now, the more you can help in all the little pieces around it, and you'll just get deeper and deeper and deeper.
So, with all of those decisions that need to be made in a rapidly changing environment, what are some of your strategies to stay focused and cut through the noise and the bombardment of press that says the metaverse is dead?
Yeah, that's, I would ignore that press because that's just, people trying to get news clicks there. How do I stay focused? I don't. It's okay to wander around a little bit. It's good, because that kinda goes back to, let yourself explore some of the different areas that's going on. So, even the word metaverse itself is what I do, metaverse creation. Yeah, we could build metaverses. Absolutely. We could build a metaverse. We can also build installations for metaverses. That's not really what we do at 3 Pound. We actually build the deeper spatial computing applications in gaming, and then the core systems and libraries with the GroKit Core. But if someone said, hey, do you work in the metaverse? I would probably say yes, because it's such a generic term. And when you get a lot of mixed messages in the media about, oh, it's spatial computing, oh, it's metaverse, it's that, it can be very confusing. And I wouldn't really worry about it too much. I would definitely go and just sample around and see the way people are talking about it, because language is invented by the youth, and everything is evolving. And at some point, we're going to land on the common language, and then it's going to stick. If you look at every other industry that's gone by, mobile phone, cell phone, there's always been a lot of different words for the same thing. And over time, one of them sticks and one of them sort of falls away, and then that becomes the word. And we're all building things that multiple people can be in, kind of technically as a metaverse. And at some point, all of these little metaverses will be able to talk to each other and hang out with each other, and we'll be able to have interoperability between them. So you could play my game and maybe get an outfit, and then put that outfit on your avatar. And this avatar is the same avatar that you already have. And that transfers to another metaverse that you're just going to go to university and take your class in, and you can wear the shirt that you want in my game. Like, that would be cool. We're not quite there yet.
The same way you can do in the real world. It's like you own one article of clothing, you can't not wear it into that store.
Right, right, exactly, exactly. Right, wouldn't that be funny? Like, yeah, like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you can't wear that here." Like, just it doesn't exist in this world, but it's okay, we'll get there, we'll get there eventually. And digital goods, I think we've all had this experience with, iPhones, where you buy digital goods in a specific game, and you have no expectation that that digital good is gonna exist anywhere else but in that game. But yet in the metaverse and in spatial computing, we tend to want to have that expectation because it's so much more like real life. And that's why our brain is jumping there. And that's a good thing. It's just something that we need to solve.
The exciting thing that everyone I feel like has been on the edge of their seats waiting for is the Apple Vision Pro.
I mean, I am excited. I've been an old school Apple fangirl from way back in the day. an Apple developer, so yeah, I used to make mobile apps. So I've been waiting for this moment a very long time. I'm a little disappointed in the price point, but also it's Apple. I love the fact that we can all say spatial computing now. That was a too complicated of a phrase before, and now it's out there. I also love the fact that Apple's been working on this forever. They already have a library of spatial music. They have you on the watch. They've got you in their ears. They already have all of the stacks of entertainment ready to go with Apple TV, and all of the pillars have already been built, which means that it's a lot easier of a lift to tell people, okay, now you're just going to stick this thing on your face. So it's very much the next step, and it won't take too much complexity of getting people over the hurdle. Sure, the price tag is going to be a bit of a problem for most people, but I also remember people saying, "I'm not going to spend $1,000 on a watch," and then watched every one of them go buy a watch for $1,000.
Right.
So it's it's all very possible. Once we're getting to this point of where you have a cute little pouch that, your Apple Vision Pro, let's say they can slim it down a bit more, and let's say they can knock that price down a little bit more, make it a little more flexible, and it replaces your computer and your phone and everything. Now it's just this is my computer, boom, and that's all I need to take with me. And that's easier of a lift than throwing your laptop in the bag. Then we're really getting somewhere, because now we're really transitioning over to you using it as a spatial computing computer, like actual device, not just it's a gaming headset. Whereas Meta's gone gaming focused, which of course is also very important because gaming is such a huge segment right now. And the fact that that price point is down, now that there's this new price point out there to scare people. Ooh, $3,500, that's a lot of money. Ooh, $500 for a MetaQuest 3 sounds real good right about now. And
Right.
that's going to help the industry as well. So there's, ups and downs to all of this for sure. There's a lot of people claiming that it's not going to go anywhere because it's too expensive and too clunky and on and on and on. So there was a few surprises for me. I thought that when they showed FaceTime, I thought they were going to go with the Memojis, and you were just going to pop up as your Memoji. Because in my book, they already digital twinned you years ago. When as soon as they got you to switch to your Memoji, they were all set, and this was going to be your 3D character. And they didn't do that. They went for this full more, well, now I've scanned your face because I need to have that for the front of the device.
Screen. Right.
Um, which is a little weird. I'm not gonna lie. But if it makes people more comfortable, great. I don't know about that part because it's a little it can be a little off-putting, a little uncanny valley.
It's a little novel. It's not like people are going to be looking at you while you're in your headset.
Right,
Sometimes if you're
right.
using it alone at home, I don't need that extra. I mean, I don't know how much more power it's going to take to do
Oh, get
that, but
right, guaranteed. You're just gonna flip that right off because it's gonna waste too much power. No doubt about that. Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting that they have joined the game finally. They always planned to do it in 2020, which of course would have been the most perfect year to put out a spatial computing headset. However, pandemic, chip shortages, you name it, it all happened, and didn't get out the door at that time. So it's great that they finally put the stake in the ground. It sort of re-energized the landscape a little bit to see yet another huge company saying that spatial computing is the future, and it's time to start getting on board with this. There's so much stuff they'll be able to do simply because they already have you in so many different layers.
is there anything else you'd like to share about getting started in immersive development or upcoming events that our listeners should know about?
Yeah, I think the best thing to do is to just start thinking about what you'd want to do and writing it down and breaking it apart into some components. Like, think about what you're trying to accomplish and Once you've done that, go around and play some other games, play some other experiences. Just check out as many things as you possibly can. There's a lot to be learned from people that have been doing this for a long time, and there's so many great apps out there. So, one thing I wanted to mention is that I am one of the leaders of XR Women, and we have an event every week. And we would love for you and your listeners to come join us. The goal of the group is to help women navigate this landscape. We have a big event coming up in January. We're going to do a pitch fest included with an event space setup that's going to be an Engage. And then the next day will be a pitch fest. So there's going to be more news on that coming up in the coming months.
Well, thanks so much, Robin. It's been really a joy to hear about your adventures from the early days of Motorola to charting the ways that we adopt play in a natural way in VR and mixed reality.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. And it was really great to get reconnected again because we have known each other for quite some time.
That's right. We started in Oculus Launchpad.
Yeah, way back.
I'll have to post a photo of
My feet.
your shoes of Oculus Connect.
Do people know about this thing with the feet?
Well,
The shoes of the world?
Is
this going to make a comeback?
Well, I hope so. I mean, in VR too. The funny thing is I went to MetaConnect in VR, and it was the first time that we had had a virtual conference with legs in Horizon.
Oh, right.
So I was taking pictures of everyone's feet and their shoes in VR.
That's amazing. That is amazing. I thought that was such an interesting take of the conference because it's the feet that got us where we are.
Right. When you're stepping into the future, you want to put your best foot forward.
Beautiful. That's the takeaway right there. Beautiful.
All right. Well, happy Halloween.
Awesome. Thank you so much and happy Halloween.
I hope this episode of Zero to Start inspires you to get started on your spatial computing adventure. Be sure to check the show notes for how you can connect with Robin, 3-Pound Games, and 3-Pound XR, plus their experiences on App Lab. You can support Zero to Start by subscribing to us on your favorite podcast platform. Give us a rating and share this episode with your favorite ghosts and ghouls. Until next time, spooky installing.